Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today what we are going to be going over is 538, the Atlas of Redistricting. This came out about 2 years ago, but I think it might be fun to look at now. So what we have on our screen right now is the current redistricting, district map of the House of Representatives in the United States. I know that North Carolina is done wrong, along with the state of Pennsylvania, as districts have definitely changed a lot since then due to gerrymandering. But yeah, this is the current districts. There's 168 usually Democratic districts, 195 usually Republican districts, and 72 competitive districts. And a lot of these competitive districts aren't even competitive. I mean, let's see, Connecticut. This district, right over here, the 2nd Congressional District, and the 5th Congressional District, it says highly competitive. However, these basically have no chance of going to the Republicans. If we look at the 2018 House results, the 2nd Congressional District went to Courtney by basically almost 30 points. And then the 5th Congressional District went to Johanna Hayes by 10 points. Almost 11. So these are not generally very competitive states. But if anything, they're a little bit more lenient towards both aisles of the party. I mean, the 7th Congressional District of Minnesota is currently represented by a Democrat. They won by about 5 points in 2018, but there's a 97.7% chance of being represented by a Republican. So, I mean, this is a decent way to look at it. So, looking at gerrymandering districts to favor Republicans, this is what it would look like. 139 usually Democratic districts, 275 usually Republican districts, and 21 highly competitive districts. 275 usually Republican districts is absolutely massive. I mean, they would automatically have control of the House. They would have a supermajority, which would basically allow them to pass whatever they want, no matter how many party defectors there would be. In states like California, a huge amount of Republicans would now be in Congress. States like Minnesota, only 2 congressional districts for the Democrats. The state of New York, if the highly competitive districts were to go to the Republicans, as one of them is leaning, they would basically almost have a majority in the New York House of Representatives. Oregon, only 2 districts. So this is like really crazy. But when we flip this to gerrymandering districts for the Democrats, completely different story. 263 usually Democratic districts, not as high as the Republicans, but even still, 27 highly competitive districts, 145 usually Republican districts. Many states that are like safe Republican are now having more Democratic districts. Mississippi having 2 districts, Alabama 2 districts, the state of Georgia having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 districts. It would definitely provide a huge advantage towards the Democrats. I mean, New Hampshire, even though both are represented by a Democrat, it doesn't necessarily show that, but it is definitely very notable. What else? Matching the partisan breakdowns of each state and their electorate. Again, this is more of an even map, more of a map that is not as gerrymandered. The state of Georgia now allowing for an extra congressional seat for the Democrats and another competitive seat. And what else? The state of Massachusetts now having a bunch of competitive seats, despite being very gerrymandered. That's just weird looking. State of Texas, state of California now being more competitive, This would really allow for, with 82 highly competitive districts, this would allow for a lot more people to be involved in the electoral process. And in trying to promote highly competitive districts, having most of the nation do so, I mean, this would be absolutely insane. Almost the whole state of New York, well, upstate New York would be competitive. New York City, not as competitive. States like California, a majority of their districts being competitive. This would provide huge spending on trying to win elections. It would definitely be not understanding the outcome before election day would definitely be number one. The whole state of Maine would be competitive. North Carolina would be competitive. It's crazy. Maximizing the number of majority-minority districts. This would kind of help the Democrats. It would provide a lot more districts that would represent our country. It would provide more voices to the minority groups in our nation, such as black and brown people, to have a bigger voice in Congress. But yeah, making the shapes compact, this would be more of a prettier way. This is not necessarily realistic. I don't think they would ever do something like this. But this is just generally for looks, and then while following state borders. This would generally be if we were to just completely eliminate partisan politics and profiling, whatever. What's interesting to note is the district boundaries. Making the districts compact is the same in Iowa, if you can see. So they obviously have been following a certain algorithm in order to create their congressional districts. Yeah. I just thought this was pretty notable, kind of cool to see, on how, basically how the United States would, and our congressional map would look different if all of the states were to gerrymander a certain party, or if they were gerrymandered in a certain way to represent a certain group of the country. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like, comment, subscribe, leave other suggestions down below, and thank you.